This is a civilian. Usually they just give a little bit of trade and amenities before they go on to fill better jobs. But what if we could only use civilians to create a powerful nomadic empire in Stellaris? Well, we can do just that with the right combination of origin, civics, and traits. This is a wacky build, but actually pretty strong, especially early on. That's right, we can get triple-digit tech numbers month 2. I'll walk you through the setup and to get it up and running so you can dominate the galaxy with only civilians. Maybe you want to transition out of civilians, but it gives you a good early game start. Let's get into it. Am I crazy to use civilians? Maybe. How are we going to get all our resources? Well, I have a plan. First of all, though, they need to go. Why are we working jobs when we can all be civilians? Everyone must go, no exceptions, no alloys, no tech, no consumer goods. Everyone must become civilians. You can actually see we're already producing tech, unity, trade, amenities, and pop happiness. Why? That's all because of our civics. Firstly, we have memorialists. The only reason I have this is because it starts us off with a sanctuary repose, which is essentially a monument. Monuments give additional effect from empire ethics. We're getting trade from egalitarian, unity from spiritualists, and citizen pop happiness from xenophobe. Great. How are we getting tech? That's because of civil education. Enforcers become educators, we do not care. However, we have a state academy, which without even working just gives the planet modifier 0.1 of each tech per 100 faithful acolytes. It does increase the upkeep of consumer goods, which is a little bit annoying, but we've got to work around for that too. Now remember, xenophobe also gives us pop growth, and eventually we can steal pops to add to the civilians. Spiritualist also gives monthly unity, which is quite nice. Now what we can also do is come over to species, and we'll see what traits we have. We have shelled, so they're using less housing, and they have more habitability. This just means we can cram more pops on here, and their pop growth is higher. We also have season dormancy. This is a must. Unemployed and civilian pops have a 75% upkeep reduction. It's not on their jobs, but the upkeep of those pops are greatly reduced, which is very good since they're all civilians. We've then got terraphobic because it's a free pick here, and repugnant is also a free pick. We do have an extra trait point could have used, but there's nothing I really wanted, so we're saving it. We'll then come to set species rights and come over to living standard, and we're going to switch over from decent conditions, which give us some happiness specialist output. We're not using specialists, so this is useless. So we can switch over to utopian abundance. We get 20% happiness. Sure, that's nice. Civilians, which are faithful acolytes, produce unity and tech. They do have a 1 consumer good upkeep per person, but that's going to be worth it. Let's put on utopian abundance, shall we? Now you might be noticing, why are they not called civilians? That's because we're starting with the sacred path, which basically turn our elites into high pilgrims, our bureaucrats into devoted adepts, and importantly, our civilians into faithful acolytes. As this origin goes, we can buff up civilians with different resource productions, which is going to be very nice. As long as we got the consecrated community, which we do, that's all good to go. We can also actually just like disable these buildings that we no longer need. These all need pops to work. We don't need them. Maybe we can build luxury residence for amenity and housing, but everything else they need pops to build except for the state academy, but that's going to increase our consumer good upkeep, so we need to fix that before we build the limit of 3. We need that enabled too, but we can disable the temple and the consumer goods. They all have an energy upkeep, which we don't need to use. We also could just get rid of the industrial trade quarter just for pure housing too, and all these districts are useless, but they're giving us a bit of housing, so we're going to keep it for now. The final thing before we buff it up even more, is we're nomadic. We can roam around, we can use our arc ship to get resources if we want, but importantly we have operational reserves, which means our energies and minerals are combined. That isn't the fun fact. Even though trade becomes energy, so we don't need to make minerals, we can use conserve. This reduces upkeep by 50% from all jobs. Civilians count as a job. The only negative here is that our bureaucrats and scientists get minus 50% output. I don't know if you know, we're not working any of them. So it's a free 50% reduction. It's pretty nice. If you're thinking about buying season 10, make sure to use my code EP for Stellaris or use the link in the description. It'll take you to the Paradox store where you'll give the channel a cut of the sale, and then you'll get a Steam key in return. It's greatly appreciated and helps out the channel a bunch. Thank you. In terms of our starting military ship here, we may as well get a logistics ship out, and then we'll start serving with our science ship, and I guess with our military arc ship, because surveyed system gives more logistic ship output. They can just harvest up here while we wait to survey the system. In terms of certain techs, we don't need anything that gives silly job output. We'll take the research speed, which does apply to us. We'll then take the unity, and here we may as well take the afterburners. Since we are Sacred Path, we're going to have to find a lot of sites to actually get the buffs from this origin, which we're going to want to run down. Let's play till the first month, so everything can actually take effect. With the astral star charts, we have played through this origin already. Essentially, we can buff up our elites or bureaucrats right now. We may as well go for the spiritualist ethic attraction. We don't get any of these benefits because we're not using them yet. We will get civilian buffs soon. Now you can see the month's ticked over. We're positive on operational reserves, food, negative on consumer goods, which is annoying. Alloys positive, trade positive by a lot, unity positive. Oh, and we also have 121 technology at the second month of the game. That's a lot of tech these days. That goes a bit crazy. We're also going to want to clear our sprawling slums, and we may as well clear the cluttered hangars, which may give us some resources, because of course we have the arc ship readiness. Now the main issue with this build will be alloys. We don't really have a good way to produce alloys. This origin can produce us alloys if you're machine, but we can't work assembly jobs, so it's kind of a bit bad. In terms of first tradition, to actually fix this, we're doing a lot with trade. As you can see by civilians, we're producing a lot of tech, unity, 123 trade, a lot of amenities, and pop happiness. And you can see here our upkeep should be about 18. It's 9. It's ridiculous. The pops also have their stuff reduced, as you can see by seasonal dormancy. It's a bit ridiculous. We're paying barely anything for our entire population, a whole 12 food, 21 consumer goods. Now to actually fix our consumer goods and really just get more out of our trade, we're obviously going to go commerce. We get more from contracts too, which are going to be quite important, but we can get more from living standards, which our civilians are producing too, give more trade and reduce market fee, which we are going to be using. We probably should utilize the trade we've got by buying consumer goods and also buying as many energy and minerals as we can, so we can get to high, because we're currently in medium, which is giving us 5 stability, which is nice, but we can get to high for 10% research speed and 10 stability. That's going to help our tech output even more. We have 90 stability, not bad. Okay, I'm going to get that trade from living standards now, which would buff us up. Yes, we're negative on trade, but it's fine. We can cancel our buy orders when we want. I just want to get to high as quickly as we can, the most efficiently as possible. And I realize we also have the Sacred Path, which I should have done straight away. Whoops. Let's now get adaptive economic policies. Now, I'm not sure if we should switch, because we're actually getting a lot of our energy from trade right now. And if we switch off into consumer goods or unity, we're going to go quite negative on our operational reserves. So we're not going to switch yet, but we might in the future. We will get market fee reduction though. That will save on a lot of trade. And we're going to be using the market a lot, trust me. I'm just going to keep upgrading war techs, because we of course have gone a military arc ship, because they're quite strong. They start with a lot of power, and we're going to need that since we're not going to have good alloy production. Now getting unity per month, we want pop growth speed, absolutely. We can now get some trade from jobs. We've started the Sacred Path. We can now see where all of our sites are, which we're going to want to get as soon as we can, really. Mark them all on the map. We have a big cluster up here and a big cluster down here. We'll probably go up here for these three, and we're going to want another science ship just to start exploring, so we can path straight to them. We've now already finished commerce. This is on 0.75 tech and tradition cost. Grand Admiral mid-game scaling at year 50. You can see it's absurd still. We're now getting 10% monthly trade. We get that ascension perk. We're going to want nihilistic acquisition at some point so we can raid pops, but we've not found anyone yet. What are we lacking? We probably honestly just want tech, so let's go tech ascendancy. Our unity's pretty good. Okay, we're in high now. We can actually stop buying as many resources just till we're balanced. Yeah, we're still actually increasing, which is great. Maybe we could switch to unity or consumer goods, but I'm a bit scared. Let's whack on these afterburners since we've unlocked that technology. It will just make us quicker and get this origin done faster. We're positive on trade, so we're going to try and buy as many alloys as we can this game. Alloys will be the issue. Pop growth speed, yes. We just want to try and grow these pop as much as possible, because pops are literally our resources right now. And we are looking out for the monument tech, because once we get the monument tech, we can actually switch off Memorialist, because all we needed it for was for the start of the game, the Sanctuary Repose. There are some better civics we can combine with, like Star Seekers. You've seen how strong it is. We're actually flying through techs. It's absurd. Obviously, this kind of peaks very early and then kind of falls off because we can't upgrade these jobs at all. We just need pops. Pops mean prizes. Now, I think I'm going to build another state academy. Our consumer goods might get a bit ropey, but it's fine. I have a plan. Oh, and that's a lot of negative red numbers by our arc ship. And I think need to get around somehow to get up there. That's annoying. Well, I think we're going down this way instead. Now, we need pop growth speed. I'm just going to go expansion now. let's get that 10% extra pop growth. So with this State Academy, we're going to go from 34 each of tech up to 39. However, of course, consumer goods hit a little bit. We are going to be taking robot-based techs because we can still use automation. Automation doesn't use any pop, so we could actually get some energy going, maybe food, maybe tech. We just need those techs first. Okay, it looks like I can't even get over there this way. I think I've run into like the worst luck with this origin at the start, but that's fine. If you get luckier, you're going to see this is still pretty decent. We've also got our logistic ships getting us some resources. I'm not worrying about them too much. I'm just letting them automate, do what they want. Okay, we're going to take strong on our own for the pop growth speed. Yes, the monthly trade goes down, but it's an investment. And there is the unlocked building sanctuary of repose. Perfect. I think we could maybe just aim for a second arc ship. We're not using alloys for anything else. However, it takes 74 months. I do like Strikecraft. We'll do Strikecraft first. We don't have the alloys yet. We won't be able to build another one. We're finally at the first site. Oh, we're massively in high right now. I'm going to switch us from trade wealth creation to consumer benefits now. We can also use recycling campaigns for less pop, consumer good upkeep, and education campaigns for more XP. This might tank us a bit, but we no longer have to buy consumer goods. We're actually pretty well balanced with 12, so we'll just do 22. Buy the maximum 10 alloys. Stop selling food. Yep, we're still going up. So we can actually mess with these numbers to make that go down a bit. And finally have the chasm. We can get unity, society, or unity from jobs, spiritualist ethics, and less crime. We'll take the unity from jobs, since that will buff up a civilian's output. We've got that 10% pop growth now, and this is why you explore with science ships. It looked like this system, oh, we could go this way to get to it. No, I think we have to go through here, but we'll know that now with our arc ship, and we saw that with over here too. But we'll hopefully be able to just wrap around, get to this one, and come back. We found Bethesda. We will be friendly with you, why not? And then we have a bunch of first contacts we can do, because we've been exploring. More shields, more first contact speed, why not? Year 10 is here. We now get to choose if we buff up our elites more, our bureaucrats more, or shall we buff up our civilians? Yes, that's right. They have a unity upkeep, 0.05 per 100. We produce unity, who cares? But we get energy, minerals, and food. This is where the civilian fun begins, my friends. Look how absurd this is. Look at it. Energy, minerals, food, tech, unity, trade, amenities. All you need is alloys, and then you produce every resource. We don't produce strategic resources, but that's fine. We have also just finished our second site. Get service speed anomaly, alloys, or bring it aboard for stability. Sure, we'll go to 100 stability. That also does buff up our civilians ever so slightly. We've also only got a negative 1.46 unity upkeep. I think that might be being halved. I actually can't even tell. But yeah, we don't need to buy energy or minerals now. So trade is going to be how we get our alloys, because we can sell consumer goods, we can sell food. That is the missing piece. The way we get alloys is through the consumer goods. And now we need to head to our third site, and we can actually put fear campaign on for more unity too. Why not? We've got double fertility preacher now for the pop growth speed. Let's go for arc ship construction now. Why the hell not? So what we're gonna do now is go for star seekers, because celebration's really strong. Essentially, reform that. Yes, we're gonna lose the sanctuary of repose, but I believe it should just become a monument. Or do we just keep the sanctuary? What? No, yeah, it becomes a monument. That's fine, because we still keep all the buffs and we have the tech. Research speed, we can now reform too, so let's get less upkeep from jobs and reduce our upkeep there. If you don't know how Star Seekers works, we get a situation log doing a festival, which gives us 1000% pop growth efficiency for specialist complex. We're just going to use it for the pop growth, because remember, the more we have, the better. Also, we do need to get rid of these jobs. I don't know why the game does that, but if we don't get the situation, we still can see how many more stars we need to see, and we just get that from exploring, which that's what we're literally doing. So yeah, that's good. We found the last site. We're just going to let you automate explore down there. Already unlocked dice and something. So we can still use deposits and stuff to get resources. We just are exploring at the minute, so we don't need to. Okay, we actually have to go this way. This is like a little alcove. Very odd. We'll just shoot down that ship. Passing by. We've almost found the way to this one. We just need to connect these two, or we could go back on ourselves, but it would probably be quicker to go straight. Oh, and because we have so many consumer goods, we may as well get our third State Academy to get even more tech. Finishing expansion doesn't really matter. We could just finish off a different tradition, which gives us more bonuses. I don't know if prosperity actually affects our output. It does give us more housing. Harmony is also pretty good. Gives stability, less pop-up, keep again as empire size. Discovery would give us research speed. there's a few options you can go for. Adaptability would give another district, less housing usage too. I'm going to go prosperity because it will buff up our logistic ships when we actually use it as well. And we need to find 22 more stars for our celebration. We also have factions producing us a butt ton of unity. Should we get unity in tech or less crime? Crime could be an issue, so we may as well go for that. There's not much we can do against crime except for just make them happy. So reducing it by 15%, that'll be good. Okay, we're now producing 55 of each tech with the maximum state academies. We just now need to get over here. We do also have contracts which we could do for opinion, influence, trade. I don't really want to do the tech ones though, right now anyway. Heritage site upgrade, nice. If we upgrade it, we just basically get 2 unity for each central pick and 10% more unity. We may as well build it, and we may as well also demolish these useless buildings. And we can host festival. We should just do this as soon as we can. Okay, we're doing the festival. We were at 5.9 thousand civilians. Let's see how many we actually get to at the end of this. We also lose our upkeep reduction, hence why we're negative on consumer goods. It's going to tick down all the way to the bottom. That's fine. We also now get the year 15 event, which means we can either just buff up our civilians even more. They're currently producing 0.25 of each thing, so we could double that, or we can buff up everyone. Well, you know what we're picking. We're producing 45 energy, 45 minerals, 55 food. Okay, we are now done with the festival. We can go back to conserve. We gained only 300 pops, which is not the best. It really scales massively with assembly, but that's 300 pops we didn't have. It's one of the best ways to get us going a bit more. It's going to take us a little bit to get back up, so what we can just do is buy energy and minerals. We're almost at 200 tech, 15 years in with only civilians, and any time we get into situations like this, we can just leave. Goodbye. And automation building, that will be very nice. Okay, we're back up to medium, which is great because we get 5 stability instead of the negatives. We can also build another arc ship, but as you can tell, we don't have the facilities for that. It costs quite a bit of alloys, 9,500. We're a bit off. Clone vats, we can use them. They don't need to be worked. They give us monthly pop growth. We'll absolutely take that. We can now automate. The only issue with automation is it can only be on basic districts. Can't automate alloys, unfortunately. However, we could make an energy generator and just start automating these resources to sell them. And we now have clone vats. That is huge. Hops are our resource. We must use them. We'll now head down here. And you can see we can actually automate 25% of this. We're losing some energy for food, but that's fine. We're going to be also automating the technicians. Now we're getting 0.87 on these clones, but that's resulting in more pops, which means more resources. And we do need to make sure we're actually automating this energy. And we can actually now upgrade our state academies, which will give us an extra bit of tech boost. Now what we could be doing, I'm kind of playing a bit more chill. Well, we could absolutely try and get nihilistic acquisition to go raid as we're moving along the map. I'm just not an aggressive player. What can I say? If we stop buying monthly and we just put everything into alloys now, which means supremacy probably would have been good. We will take it now though. All right, we're up to 247 tech, more upgrades, up to 7k civilians. Now you can see crime's becoming a little bit of an issue. We're now up to 322 tech, 24 years in with only civilians. It's absurd. Another site done. I'm just going to grab the unity, and then we've got 2 more sites over here to do. We probably just want to spam food as well because we can actually sell food. We can't sell energy and we're fine on our operational reserves. There's no point building more energy right now. The reason we have crime is because we have a cartel in us. That is annoying. I'm going to start fitting this out with some hangars. We're actually ahead of the Union Bears in terms of techs. Yeah, our tech is insane. For a civilian build, it's just happening. We have engaged some amoebas. They will just die. Another dig site done. We get unity and authoritarian ethic. Oh, tech. I'm just going to take the unity. And I'm going to host a festival because we're almost maxed out and we're at our last site anyway. So we're at 7.4 thousand pops this time, and we'll get to the unity too. Trying our next course. I don't really know the best way here. There could be better things, but because we're not doing devoted adepts, I will just take the happiness and less crime. But that's just how it is. We're getting 51 pops a month, which is quite nice from the festival. And back into conserve. We now need to get some resources to get out of low. But we have now done that. So now I'm going to look to raid / declare war. We're fitting our arc ship with just military stuff because that's the cheapest way of getting boosts here. And then we can make a pretty good destroyer. See how many of these we can pump out. 6 of them, that might be enough. to murder. Also, since we're in someone's space, we may as well harvest the 956 deposit to try and get back into medium. Expansion's done. I think I'm going to go cybernetics because all the other ones, I believe we need to work jobs, and cybernetics is good for reducing upkeep and giving us a bit more efficiency. And then I get Ulster, which is going to convert us into psionic pops. I will take that though. I think we can be cybernetic and psionics with this, which gives us even more job efficiency for those jobs. Do you guys want to know the stupidest thing about Nomads? You can click declare war, make tributary, and not get kicked out of that space. So we can just go ahead and go to this Empire's only planet, defeat their ships. Oh, it looks like they're coming for me. Okay. Well, we want the destroyers to tank that a bit, and then yeah, there we go. Yeah, the ship guy doesn't lie. Perfect. Heal up, and let's go and switch bombardment stance to raiding, and then we can go get some pops. Let's get more civilians, shall we? It appears they've all retreated. We did lose some destroyers there. That's not the greatest of things to happen. We'll either surrender because I don't want to bomb them forever. They're going to be our vassal and they're going to pay us, hopefully, in alloys. That's one way we can actually fix that. So we're already getting a bunch of unemployed slaves. So there's a couple of things we could do. We could keep them as slaves. We could make them livestock. If you didn't want to do civilians only, you could actually use them working. What we're going to do is we're not going to eat them. No. We'll make them residents so that they can become utopian abundance, so they join our civilian ways. Because now they're getting a bunch of resources up. We get more tech. Our consumer goods might struggle a little bit, but that's fine. And we're just going to eat them dry, basically. Nom 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 nom. 10,000 civilians now. And now we can go cybernetics. Yeah, consumer goods, kind of an issue. We should probably start building some assault armies. We already have 4,000 of their pops. What? We should probably get rid of permeable skin as well. You're probably not coping too hot with that. But they do only have 25% habitability, so we do want to try and help them with that. I can't, apparently. Well, we can get rid of permeable skin at least. It's fine, you'll become cybernetic eventually. The Edge of Harmony, we can now grab job efficiency for faithful acolytes. Yeah, don't mind if I do, actually. We'll get 10% more of them working. Our consumer goods are going to die. What we can do, if you're running into issues, is disable the center of guidances, which will lower your tech output, but save a lot of consumer goods until you can actually fix them. Yeah, tech has kind of collapsed now, but consumer goods are fine. We can afford to have at least one of them on. They have like almost no pops left. I feel a little bit bad. You could just surrender. We now have 6,000 of these. Maybe we shouldn't have stolen aquatic pops because they get less habitability again. So these are not the best pops to steal. You do want someone who's not aquatic. But hey, we are getting a lot of pops. They've almost out. We probably should stop. I'm down to stop now. Let's get pop growth speed. Yes. Well, because of all this, we may as well just celebrate, shall we? Who doesn't like a lovely little celebration while you absolutely destroy an empire's economy and steal them aboard your ship? We're festivaling. More pops. Yes. Festival is now over. We can go back to conserve. Economy's a little bit tight. Obviously, this could be absurd if you weren't just farming civilians and you actually built stuff too. But I like to play the game in weird ways, as you know. There we go. We have our vassal. Now they'll be giving us 30% of their resources. We can negotiate that for alloys and stuff later. But now we can probably set up wayline packs when they actually like us. We could also ascend our planet by getting more job efficiency, which would give more civilian output. We could get ascensionists for more ascension stuff. We could go pleasure seekers as well, but that means we can't be utopian abundance. We can get hedonists, which make more pot growth. We might do that just to see how silly it goes. We can just grab something that doesn't really affect your pops. Or you can make your factions produce your tech, which also could be good if you don't need as much unity from crowdsourcing, which honestly, you can also get rid of star seekers to do stuff like that later on, because you can only explore a certain amount of systems anyway. We can now cybernize. Cybernetics is finally done. We just need one more pick to get the job efficiency. We can also now assimilate. We of course get access to more traits, which I don't think there's too many useful ones. Probably just want pop growth speeds. Yeah, we can get refurbished implants and rapid breeders for 20% pop growth, and we could give them adaptive, which might be worth, and I could still give them a pop growth speed. Cybernetics is now done. You can also organize festival, which gives 10% from the artisans once they like you enough. Job efficiency for cybernetics, 20% for less pop growth. Not awful. Like, we have what, 14,000 civilians here, but they're actually working at a 20,000 pop equivalent, We're starting to lose stability. Well, I could just negotiate with Grime Lords for more stability. There we go. So we've almost assimilated all our pops. These dolphins now have 60% habitability, which is much better than before. If they didn't have aquatics, they would be at like 80, which would mean even more stuff. And I think this criminal megacorp might be destroying us a bit in terms of our trade. I think commercial pack would have helped with the trade. We are also getting 45% more growth from headness, but I don't think it's worthwhile. It doesn't really scale that well, to be honest. It's honestly probably better going utopian abundance on everyone. I can't even do it on these because I changed, but that will buff up your research and unity far more. I don't think headness is actually that good anymore. And our empire size is so low. The only issue is alloys, but you can fix that by warring, or we can use our trade now that it's gone absurd. This probably does not scale that well, but it's still pretty good. It all comes down to just being conserved. That minus 50% upkeep saves so much, making this work a lot more. Okay, we can go utopian on the main species now. We're at 700 tech. It's quite good. Civilian build, it's not as good as the old school civilian, but look at that. Just, it produces everything for us. It's stupid. If you enjoyed this video, go watch my ultimate megacorp trade build. It's even more absurd than this. Like, it's genuinely one of the strongest builds I played with Nomads. This is more of a silly, can we make civilians work? Yes, you can make civilian only work. Click here to watch it now. Goodbye.